Yeah, I think I mentioned earlier we did the community meetings every month, so everybody's invited to that. But I was very mindful, 24/7 call centre, people working shifts. So I used to do a morning, an afternoon, and I'd go in the evening, late in the evening, and do the same community meeting for those that are on the night shift. I think that's really important. People don't feel isolated. And then we'd make sure it was recorded and on the intranet for those that were working from home, couldn't get in for whatever reason, or on holiday, so nobody felt excluded. And what we did do, I think was really important, was we set up the opportunity for people to ask questions that couldn't make it or didn't want to ask a question in front of their peers. So they could send a question through to a specific email box in HR, and they were guaranteed that the directors would answer it. It didn't always have to be me. We'd share those questions in our 8:30 sessions, the directors, and we'd make sure that there was an answer published, either individually if they wanted it individually, or publicly if they wanted it publicly. So I think make sure that the communication is available to everybody in different channels at different times, and make sure that it's a two-way conversation. They get the opportunity to ask questions about whatever you've talked about, and honesty. It was an open agenda. We did it because although I'd been a managing director and a CEO, general manager of other companies, the other directors hadn't. In fact, they probably never left South Wales. They were kind of living in this bubble. So I felt it was really important that we supported each other. So we had an open agenda and a non-fear agenda. So get together at 8:30 every morning, cup of coffee, sit down and just talk about how they're feeling, what help, what support they needed, what they were going to try and achieve, and what is it they were going to do today that was going to help us towards our growth goal. Keep everybody focused on growth. And they were great because people would actually say, I really don't know how to handle this situation. So we could kind of say, well, you could think about this. It was that non-judgmental half an hour every morning, so that at 9 o'clock we could go off and focus. So it was an open agenda, but it was a mandatory for the first year. Let's sound check ourselves. Let's not let anybody say this team has failed. They don't know what they're doing. Let's tell ourselves we don't know what we're doing, and let's support ourselves to make sure that we get it right. Thomas International. So I was trained in that when I was at newspapers. It was a big thing back then, and I've never left me. I think it's so useful to really understand what makes people tick. Because if you don't understand what makes people tick, how can you help them move forward? But the trick with a leader is you've got to remember all the individual buttons, and that's quite hard with 140 people. When you get to 450 people, it's nigh on impossible. But what I did do was teach others how to do it so that they could do it on their teams, and that so it kind of an osmosis down, and I think it really helped. Well, interestingly, from both ends of the scale, because I'd have my meetings. What I made sure that the meetings weren't about me; they were about them sharing with each other. And I think it didn't matter whether I was there or not. If I was in London doing a pitch, so what? That you get together and share what each department is doing and what challenges you face and what help you need and what new things are coming down the pipeline, for example. And then it gets cascaded down. One of the things I've always believed in is walking the floor. So when I was back in the call centre, I'd be walking the floor and be asking John or Ben or Mary, What was it you found out this week? So you're actually sound checking at the bottom floor as well, and you find some managers are great at cascading it down, Chinese whispers, others kind of got it a little bit wrong, and then you find the managers that just didn't bother. So you're able to deal with that, and I think that's quite important. It's not checking up, it's just making sure everybody shares the knowledge. So yeah, I used to do that a lot. I was known for it. The types have certainly changed. Ollie has been a mentor of mine, found through the NatWest Accelerator and Next Level programs. So pre-chosen for me. I've had professors that I've networked with, shared what I was trying to achieve, and they said, I'd like to help you on that journey. So that's kind of been found through collaboration and networking. And then others that get suggested to you. When we first did the MBO, there was a number of investment companies interested in supporting us. We needed to raise several £1 million. I talked about that and, hitting the pillar that night. One of the investment companies sent in an expert to suss us out. And so I had a good look at the company, had a good chat with me, met the team, whatever, spent 2 days with us and wrote the report back to the investor. The investor was on the cusp of lending us the money. And the investor wrote to the founder and said, great company, great contracts, great potential, but Ron is no good. He's not the man for the job. Only invest if you can kick him out. And the founder shared this letter with me, and I was like thinking, oh my God, failure. I can't lead a company. As it turned out, the founder believed in me, and we didn't go with that particular investor. Thank goodness, turned out they were wrong, but hey ho, it wasn't about that. But via that, I got to know a guy, great guy, contact center experience, who happened to know the person who'd been to do the assessment. I had a few words and then rang me and said, do you need any help? So that was recommended, that mentor was recommended to me. So they come in all shapes and sizes and guises. You just got to decide what is it you think you want, what is it you think you need, and what can they provide. The professor was brilliant at theory. Academic, he'd done, worldwide coaching, all sorts of things he could teach me. Whereas the guy that came from the contact center could teach me the really basics of call center life. And Ollie, a great mentor in terms of leadership development, talent growth. So you pick and choose accordingly. I wasn't always like that. I've always been a go-getter. I've always believed in work hard, do the right thing, want to get out of bed. I think you talked on Monday night, Darryl, about crisis. I think my turning point, because I was just a manager for other people who owned companies that made money. Fine, made money for them, not for me. I just took my, I was bumping along, head just above the water. I think the turning point for me was a crisis when I got made redundant, and I was kind of midlife, and you kind of think, jeeps, what am I going to do? Nobody's going to employ me. I'm 40 odd. I'm on the scrap heap now. Where's the nearest dole office? Was kind of my thinking. And I think that was the turning point where I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do it for me, not because I want to make money and be wealthy. I always remember a phrase, and this is a all gender thing, but man, man works hard. Oh, man sacrifices health for wealth, then man gets wealth. Then man uses the wealth to try and regain the health, then man dies. And I always remember that, and I think, do I want to work for myself and make myself wealthy? Not particularly. I want to be comfortable, but actually I want to work for myself so that I could do good for others. So that was kind of really important to me. And I know when we sold the company, I got quite a chunk of money, and I gave a quarter of it away to good causes, because I kind of thought, life's been good to me. Charity sector's been good to me. Why not give back? So giving back, whether it's financial or through time or through mentoring or wisdom, I think is really important. If there's a legacy I want to leave, it's because people remember me for doing the right thing and for helping others to achieve their potential. And that helping others achieve their potential is probably what I'll have engraved. I would say start earlier, go for it quicker. I wished I'd done what I did, 10, 15 years prior to that. There's a balance, because you're much more likely to be successful if you've got some experience behind you. So I think I would do it earlier. I think I would stop thinking of myself as a flawed person, a failure. Just think just because somebody else doesn't share what I believe in doesn't mean they're right and I'm wrong. I used to think I was wrong because my CEO didn't rate me and made me redundant. Doesn't mean they're right. It just means we have a different set of values. So I think I would have a word with myself. There's a place for everybody. Find the niche that suits you. And follow that, and pivot, because nothing stays the same. And if COVID taught us anything, it was about the ability to stay on what you want to do, but change the route to get there. So I would do that. And my final lesson, I think, the two final things I think I would do differently. Stop putting up with weak people. So deal with those sooner, because a little bit of pain sooner is much better. And secondly, I spoke earlier about being more honest with people like mentors. Stop trying to hide behind a barrier on. Tell people how you feel. Be more open. Because I tried to be the big leader, and I feared loads of things. I cried loads of times, but I didn't want anybody else to know. Well, why not? I think that's really important for your mental well-being as well, and your family balance, that you're open and honest with everybody, your partner, your board, your directors, your mentor. If it's not to be, it's not to be. Doesn't mean you're right, doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means you're different direction. So, yeah, that's what I'd encourage myself to do, but do it a lot quicker, a lot sooner in life. I could have retired earlier. I think what helped, after I'd left, I'd stayed in touch with the NatWest Accelerator program. So I did a number of talks to the next level of entrepreneurs coming through, and met some of them for coffee and helped with business planning. And you suddenly realise there were so many different businesses out there, so many different missions. They're all important to that individual. So in actual fact, it wasn't all about my company and what we achieved. That will carry on. There were so many others that do great work, great jobs, serve the communities, come up with innovations. And you suddenly realise the world of business is a much, much bigger place than you thought it was. You thought you were the only company that mattered, and you thought you were the only one that was growing, and because you put all your energy and time into it. It's callous to say it's just a business, just numbers, somebody else's. It's like when you move house, isn't it? If you've grown your entire family in this beautiful 3-4 bedroom house, and then you're going to move, and downsize, you're kind of leaving all your memories behind. It's just you're entering a different chapter of your life. So that's the way I came to understand it and be at one with it.